quick video about TJ Dillishaw. I'm sure everyone saw the interview he did with Komoto earlier this week. His suspension ends in midway through January of next year, and obviously there's going to be a lot of talk about who he's going to fight when he comes back. I'm just going to start off talking about Dillishaw's recent past for anyone who's unaware, who's new to the sport, just coming in, getting interested in it. So Dillishaw's 16-4, 8 knockouts, 3 submissions, 5 decisions. He's got 2 knockout losses and 2 decision losses as well. He's still only 34, he's by no means an old fighter. And although he's bantamweight, he's never really struggled with making weight as far as I'm aware. Right, so let's talk about his notable wins first. He's got 2 over Renan Barao, and that might not sound like very much these days, but at the time Renan Barao was undefeated, and they're both fight of the night performances on his wins. No one could take anything from him there. And obviously he's got his 2 taking the title in his title defence against Cody Garbrandt. Both of those, I believe it was a first and a second round knockout. Very impressive. He's got a few notable losses. The Henry Cejudo one was most recent. That's the fight he popped for EPO in as well. Obviously, if anyone remembers that one, it was a very questionable stoppage in the first round. So I don't want to read too much into that. And his loss to Dominic Cruz was a split decision, there we go, so I slipped my mind a sec. He also lost to John Dodson at the end of the Ultimate Fighter season 14, which was 2011, I think, maybe 2012. But John Dodson, if anyone's aware, has recently been let go by the UFC, so we're not seeing any sort of rematch there. Okay, so I just want to talk about who I'd like to see him fight next, what I think is his best chance of getting to the title. I want to be very clear first of all, I don't think he's going to get a title shot straight off the bat. I think he's got a good chance of beating Peter Yan, and I think he does deserve a chance to, but I think he's going to have to fight someone else first. But let's just put the title challenge aside for one point, because the person I'd most like to see him fight is Uriah Faber. I appreciate Uriah Faber's getting on a bit, he's 39 now, he is quite old. But he is still active. He came out of retirement last year and he's had a couple of fights. So, TJ Dillishaw, Uriah Faber. If anyone remembers season 22 of Tough, the whole snake in the grass thing with Conor McGregor, there's so much bad blood between those two. It'd definitely be, let's just be clear. TJ Dillishaw's going to be a fight night main event when he comes back. No question. Either that or the co-main event on a pay-per-view. I wouldn't be surprised if he did go the co-main event on the pay-per-view route, just to ease him back in with a 3-round fight instead of a 5. But Uriah Faber's who I'd most like to see him fight, just because of the bad blood there. So next I'm going to talk about who he should fight to be getting to the title. The most obvious one is Corey Sandhagen, who I believe we have trained together in the past. But Sandhagen has called him out recently after his last fight where he beat Marlon Moraes. And Sandhagen said he wants to fight Dillashaw for the #1 contender spot. Great bit of self-promotion from Sandhagen there, because he got everyone else saying it, and if everyone else is saying it, it becomes true. And I personally think Sandhagen's got a very good chance of beating Dillashaw, just based on the skill set that I've seen from him. Next one, Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar's not looked too great recently. His bantamweight debut against Pedro Munez was a very questionable split decision win. I scored that fight for Munez personally. I mean, it's hard not to like Frankie Edgar, he seems like a likeable sort of guy. But I think Dillashaw would storm right through him at this point, to be honest. Especially coming in fresh after 2 years off. Frankie Edgar's had a lot of high-level fights. And everyone remembers a Gray Maynard trilogy back in the early 2010s. Then they'll know what I'm talking about there. Okay, another one which probably wouldn't get him a title fight afterwards, but I'd still like to see. Jose Aldo. Just because he's a legend of the sport. Again, he's not had a great deal of success since he came down to bantamweight. He's been getting beat a lot. But I think a win over TJ Dillashaw, he could easily have a title shot, 1 or 2 after that. So the last one I'm going to mention is Cody Garbrandt. Now, Dillashaw has got 2 knockout wins over Garbrandt, very impressive knockout wins. But again, similar to Uriah Faber, it's just the backstory to it, the whole Team Alpha Male, Dwayne Ludwig nonsense. And I don't think Cody Garbrandt's ever going to fight at flyweight. He's got. I appreciate he got injured before he started trying to make the cut earlier, but I really think he'd struggle to make flyweight. And the way Benavidez is going, I think he's best off steering clear of it altogether. Because the last thing Cody Garbrandt needs at the minute is to get knocked out again. He's managed to bounce back from the 2 TJ ones. I mean, he could use the fact that TJ popped for EPO in his defence, but it is worth mentioning they did go back and test his samples from when he fought Garbrandt, and both of them came back negative. But in the minds of a lot of people, he's always been on EPO. He's been a drug cheat since he started fighting. Whether that's true or not, if people believe it, it becomes true in people's minds. Alright, just a final note on this. I don't think TJ Dillishaw should be anywhere near a title shot. He has 2 years off suspension. He's very unlikable, TJ Dillashaw, and I think he does it on purpose, to be honest. He hasn't got any interest in being liked. If anyone remembers the Ultimate Fighter series he was on, he refused to fight John Dodson in his preliminary fight, threw his teammate under the bus, and then 2 of his other teammates proceeded to try and kick the shit out of him in sparring in the next fight. In the next training session. So I think that says a lot. Obviously, Team Alpha Male, no one there has got anything good to say about him, but that's a bit more understandable. But he does not seem like someone who's got any interest in being liked. Obviously, the whole snake in the grass moniker that he's got. I really think, though, that he will be thrust into a title contention fight, number 1 contender fight. Probably against Sandhagen, who I had to guess. If not Sandhagen, then Edgar. A win over either of those 2, I'd say, pretty much guarantees him a title shot. If not, though, I wouldn't be 100% surprised if they put him straight in for a title shot against Peter Yan, though. There's been a lot of funny business with this Aljamain Sterling-Peter Yan fight. There's been no reason for it to have been delayed as long as it has, as far as I can tell. Peter Yan's coming out saying he's got visa issues, which sounds a bit dubious, but it seems like they're knocking the fight back and knocking the fight back. And, well, that's going to be on a pay-per-view, and the next pay-per-view is Conor Dustin in January, and by the February pay-per-view, TJ's going to be back. So like I said, I wouldn't be 100% surprised if Dillashaw and Yan did fight, but I don't want to see that. I want Sterling to get his opportunity. You can't say he's not earned it. And then we'll have probably the winner of Dillashaw Sandhagen fight, the winner of that one. And like I said, if Dillashaw's good enough to get his belt back, then he has every right to try. He's served his time off for his suspension. Like I said, he shouldn't be gifted a title shot on his way back. But if he comes back and earns it, then that's another thing. Alright, so that was a bit of rambling on that one. Just a few thoughts on what I think Dillashaw's going to come up against. So we'll call it a day for now. I look forward to tonight's fight, UFC Vegas 16, Hermansson versus Vettori. I'll have a review out of that in the morning, post-fight analysis, bit of that sort of stuff. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram. Hope everyone has a great day, and goodbye.